thought we were ordering the one in Stratton and it was the one in Portsmouth.
Yeah. But the worst is the one like Starbucks in Dover, they would shut down their order ahead once in a while. You don't notice it when you just hit the same buttons every day. And there you walk in there, they Steve, we don't have order ahead today, and you must be in Portsmouth somewhere. we are on.
Okay. Good evening, everyone. I'd like to call to order this meeting of the Town Council for October 18th, 2023. And we will begin, as always, item 1 on our agenda is the Pledge of Allegiance. And Councillor White, if you would lead us, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Councillor White. Agenda item 2 is a roll call, and all councillors are present and accounted for. And moving right along to item number 3 is public forum. Is there anyone from the town who wishes to speak this evening? Seeing none, I will close public forum at 7:01. Item 4, Town Council to consider acceptance of minutes. We have 2 sets of minutes. Set of minutes number A is the October 4th, 2023 work session minutes, and I would accept a motion to approve those minutes.
So moved.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Awesome. Any discussion or corrections?
There was a
Councilor
minor
Martina.
typo, I passed it on to Wendy already.
Okay. And is there anything we can do with that, or just
Scrivener's, yeah.
Scrivener's error? Okay. Any other corrections? Okay. Wendy, if you could call the roll, please.
Councilor Blaisberg?
Aye.
Councilor Lamatina?
Aye.
Councilor Dornblue?
Aye.
Councilor White?
Aye.
Councilor Blackstone?
Aye.
Councilor Ward?
Aye.
Councilor Conley?
Aye.
Motion passes 7-0.
Awesome. And our second set of minutes is October 4, 2023, regular meeting minutes, and I would accept a motion to approve those.
So moved.
Excellent. Do I have a second?
Second.
And any discussion or changes? Okay. Seeing none, if you could call the roll, please.
Councilor Blaisberg?
Aye.
Councilor Lamatina?
Aye.
Councilor Dornblue?
Aye.
Councilor White?
Aye.
Councilor Blackstone?
Aye.
Councilor Ward?
Aye.
Councilor Conley?
Aye.
Motion passes 7-0.
Excellent. And item 5 is the report of the town manager, and I will turn it over to you.
Thank you, Madam Chair. First item is last week, I attended an online meeting with those communities that are coming on board with CPSNH in the spring. Nothing out of the ordinary in that meeting, just very informational to get ready for that rollout. Second, as all of you are aware, I attended the International City Mayors Association annual conference in Austin, Texas from September 28th to October 4th. A lot of topics to discuss this year, multi-generational managing, what did the change in the pandemic and how to manage individuals in different age brackets, and what are people expecting from jobs now. A lot of remote work, a lot of family balance. And the second was a lot of discussion on AI and local government and how will it be used, and do you use it as a tool or do you not? Just some interesting discussions to start having. Next, we did give a preliminary assessment for the Lamprey River footbridge. Wright Pearson JTC completed the cleaning and testing, which sadly yielded no surprises. The initial testing results confirm that there is deterioration and section loss in the areas that were expected. JTC will have a formal report on the magnitude and section loss and corrosion within the month. Wright Pierce has estimated the replacement cost to be $1.5 million, which we'll be discussing in a couple seconds in the budget presentation. The New Hampshire Municipal Association has announced Wednesday and Thursday, September 15th and 16th, for the 82nd Annual Conference and Exhibition at the DoubleTree by Hilton in downtown Manchester. The theme this year is Zap the Gap, how to make peace and work effectively in a multi-generational world. That's what everyone's discussing now. The conference is live and in-person only this year with over 50 educational sessions. It helps support municipal leaders by equipping them with knowledge and resources to help advance the town's and local officials in daily roles. If you're interested in attending, please let me know, or Wendy, and we can register you. And if you want to look on the nhmunicipal.org website, I'll have a listing of all the sessions as well. Fine, okay.
Before we head into the budget presentation,
Yes.
just because this is a small question, can I ask about the conference?
Sure.
So how does that work? Do, let you know, you guys register us, and then we want to stay there, find our own
Yeah,
hotel rooms or drive in?
yeah, yep,
Okay, what do you usually do? You just stay there?
I usually do.
Okay.
Yeah, actually, there's a council meeting that night, so I don't know yet.
Okay.
That's the other problem, usually there's a council meeting there. So,
Okay.
okay.
Can I ask you a quick question?
Yeah, Councilor Blackstone.
The 1.5 million on the bridge,
Yep,
does that include enough strength to hold a pipe?
yes,
Okay.
yep. And now, I'm here to present my proposed budget for fiscal year '25. As I always do, I try to go over first the state of the current game. Oops, sorry. Oh, sure. Just a little. Just the state of the economy. One of the first things we always look at is unemployment. As you can see, nationally, unemployment this year is 3.8%. State is down to 1.9. Rockingham County is 2%. The Portsmouth Metro region, which we're part of, is 1.7, and the town is at 1.5%. As I've said in the years past, basically those are negligible. That is a seasonal hire. That is a part-time transfer. So it's basically, we can almost say you'll never have unemployment at zero, but this is pretty much zero. That's why you're hearing all the hiring stories out there. The next is the Consumer Price Index. What that is the annual increase of the cost of goods and services that people see. We saw a reduction in the increases that we've seen in the past years. July 2020, no surprise, during the pandemic, it was very slow. The year after, it bounced up to 5.4% nationwide, and then we had the increase last year due to the inflation of 8.5%. This past year, we only saw a nationwide increase in the CPI of 3.2%. We saw 2.6% for Northeast Regional, which is basically New England and New York. And then finally, for the Boston Metro, which we always use the CPI for this past year, was 2.8% increase in the CPI, which, oil, goods, and services. So we're seeing a slower inflation than we had in the past few years. Next, I just wanted to give an estimated fiscal year 24 tax rate. We have not set the tax rate yet, but what we've been, from the numbers that we have, which could change when we do set it, we're anticipating that as normal, the school will make about 74% of the tax rate, with $19.84 going to the local school and $1.88 being raised by state school. Again, that's not a figure that we send to the state and we get money back. We just have to raise that above and beyond by state law. It never goes anywhere else but stays with us. The next, which is the smallest portion, is our contribution to the county at 93 cents or 3% of the tax rate. And what we're discussing tonight is 23% of the tax rate, and what we're estimating right currently will be $6.82. Again, this could change when we set the tax rate. Here's just a 5-year tax rate comparison. We've been pretty level. Schools had, of course, had an increase due to the bond issuance and cost there. We had some increase. We've been $5.41 in 19, $6.01 in 2020, $5.84 in 21, $6.27 in 22, and then $6.82 last year. And as you can see, the county usually remains about $1. Here's a comparison of our assessed valuation, which I've been harping on really for the last few months. In 19, the value of the town was $977,202,228. We are now $1,006,662,399. So we are seeing a great increase in our assessed valuation. And the other part of that is, as I've been saying, though our tax ratio is very low. It's at 59%, which is the lowest we've had since 2003, as you can tell. We will have a reval coming up in the coming year, but that is a troubling number that the market is basically going faster than what our assessments are. We already said their average home is about $350,000 assessed value. What the market value, though, is $640,000. So that's the difference. That's where you can see the difference between what we're assessed at and what they're actually selling at. So the recommended budget, I am recommending a budget of $17,701,030, or a 9% increase over the previous year. So the total increase is $1,461,013. A general fund increase of $871,010. Special revenue funds $181,762, and the enterprise funds of $408,241. So just to break this down, the general fund is basically the largest portion at $10,702,630 at 60%. That is everything that is raised through taxation, other fees, fire, police, town government in general. The second largest is the enterprise funds at $4,958,437, or 28% of the budget. That is water and sewer. So all water and sewer funds go back to fund that portion of the budget. And finally, the special revenue funds at $2,039,963. That's solid waste, recreational revolving, and library. The reason is that two of those are raised through their own funds. Fees that are charged with recreation, and portion of solid waste is through the bags. And special revenue for library, since it's for us, we do not have bottom line. We don't have say over each line item in the library budget, but only the bottom line, since it's a grant sent to the library. So where's the increase going? Police contract, which was approved last year, we're seeing it, this is the first year in the operating budget, so it'll be $162,816 increase. We are putting in a part-time communications associate. This is a position to help achieve one of the goals that the council has been saying for this year. We bring somebody on part-time to help with improving newsletters, writing articles for media, and to get information out there. It's sadly, with the decline in the local papers, many municipalities have had to put this position on board to try to get coverage and information out there. This would be only a part-time for us. We have received our guaranteed maximum rate increase for the health insurance. They're saying 25%, which is the highest I've seen since probably 2007 or 8. This is the boomerang of the loss of all the money that the feds was giving us for COVID, and now the insurance companies now have to make that up. So the rates increase there. This could go down. That's why the guaranteed maximum is 25%. So it's $133,769. Debt service, we're seeing an increase of $50,000. This is to pay for the new road, drain line replacement. It's our first full year payment. Software licenses, which if everybody has purchased or used software lately, no longer you buy it and sit there, you have annual fees. We're seeing an increase of $12,601. Paving, we're seeing a $40,000 increase. Salt, $10,000 increase. Fire part-time salaries. This has been a very successful program for us. We've been using per diem employees. So basically, we pay a firefighter or a paramedic who has a job in another community where they work 24 on, 24 off, 24 on, a week off. We pay them to come and cover our station for a day. This has been great. Helps our costs. We have not had to hire new. We still only have 2 full-time employees, and we've been having a lot more paramedic runs. But we are seeing an increase in fire part-time salaries to cover that. Library salaries are seeing an increase of $44,678. I'll let the library trustees discuss that when we have a workshop. Solid waste collection, going up like everything, $25,000. Water chemicals are up $30,000. Sewer chemicals are up $35,000. Sludge disposal is up $40,000. This is due to we're running out of places to put our sludge. And there is a one-time transfer of the sewer capital reserve of $293,773. It's a bookkeeping, there's a revenue to offset that, but we did want to show why there is a $293,773 difference in there. Again, we'll get into this in the workshop session on Saturday, October 28th at 9 a.m. We do have a couple potential warrant articles. One is a $1.75 million bond to repair the 4 sewer mains throughout town. This loan will be taken out from the state revolving loan fund. We'll have a $612,000 of forgiveness. The remaining amount will be funded through ratepayers. There will be $300,000 bond to identify, engineer, purchase of materials, and replace water system services, improving compliance with the federal lead and copper rules. All the homes that have copper hookups and lead hookups, we are going to have to replace due to federal law. Of that $300,000, we'll see $210,000 of loan forgiveness, and the remaining will be raised through ratepayers. We have another one through the revolving loan fund is $73,500 for stormwater planning, finding sources of pollution for the Moonlight Brook. This would have 100% principal forgiveness, but have no impact on the tax rate. And finally, the one that I mentioned earlier, we are proposing $1.5 million to replace the footbridge over the Lamprey River. This would be 4 cents on the tax rate in year 1 and 14 cents in year 2. Next portion, which is always a big thing that we discuss, is the contribution to capital reserve funds. This is basically our savings account that we earmark for certain projects, and this is what the CIP committee recommends versus what I have to propose in the operating budget. First is the public works. This is for equipment. Capital reserve committee is program committee recommend $150,000. I recommend $75,000. We have level funded. Building improvement was at $25,000. I recommended $25,000 as well. Cap road improvements, $250,000. Level funded at $250,000. Stormwater management, they request $105,000. I recommended $25,000. Fire department requested $51,000, increase of $1,000. I agreed, $51,000. That is basically an in and out for a lease payment. Town cemeteries has requested $10,000. I zeroed that out. Police dispatch equipment, they've requested $85,126. I level funded at $15,000. Veterans Memorial Trust level funded $2,000. The 300th Anniversary Expendable Trust, $2,000. Recreation facilities, they requested $80,000. I recommended $25,000. The master plan requested $17,000. I recommended $10,000. Library requested $11,000. That is, they asked, and that is so they can do their facility study in the coming year, and so I funded that also at $11,000. Telecommunications at $20,000. That's the same. And compensating absences is $20,000. That's the funds that we use to compensate employees at the end of their tenure here of time they may have built up, so it doesn't impact the budget. The revenue budget, recommending a revenue of $10,327,280, which is an increase over last year which was $9.6 million. We are not seeing a huge increase in motor vehicle registrations, but we are starting to see some increase in building permits as well as other grants from the state. The state did come forward with a number of grants in the coming year because of ARPA, so we did see some increases there. So finally, this is a slide, this is an estimate only using the data we have today. I always put this out there so people don't say, well, you said. So if the gross appropriations of $16,155,017, we subtract $10,327,280, add overlay, which is when somebody gets an abatement, that's what we pay them. Then we add the war service credits, which is the credits that individuals who served receive. So the net town appropriation would be $7,530,750. Then you divide that by the assessed value of $1,662,399. The tax rate would be $7.49, or an increase of 67 cents over the previous year. So that is a presentation of the budget. And as I said, we'll have the workshop session on Saturday, October 28th, beginning at 9 a.m. Usually that lasts till about noon. I know everybody is, the department heads are getting ready for that. And that is all I have tonight on my report.
Excellent. Thank you, Town Manager. Any questions or discussion? Councilor Ward?
Yes. On the 5-year assessment, is it possible to assess the town's value more frequently to be more responsive to the market changes?
It is. It's not always recommended because it's, when it flips the other way,
Right.
and you have to do the same thing, and then you can be dropping a lot. What we do is cyclical updates. In the old days, you would leave the values the same 5 years, and then come in and do a reval in the 5th year. What we do is a cyclical update. We do a quarter, and do a statistical update of the entire community in year 5, so you don't see such a big increase in the values, and also save us money.
Thank you.
Councilor Dornbluth?
Will you have a chance to provide us with an explanation for the difference between your proposed budget and the CFP?
Yeah, the department heads will be there as well as the CFP, usually CFP, so I need to represent that.
If possible, I would appreciate getting that ahead of the workshop so that I can be prepared.
Yeah, and I could tell you right now, the reason for our reductions is nothing to do with programming, it's due with the budget. The way I do it is that we try to use the amount that's put into capital reserve funds, the same amount that is what we can take from fund balance, or about there, because if we don't have fund balance, I'd rather not hit operations, and we can maybe not for 1 year put money into the capital reserve funds. So it has nothing to do with any of the programming. It's just that my job, the capital improvement committee comes forward with what the project should be in the coming years. Mine is I need to come up with a budget that I think I can get passed by the council and the voters. So that's usually the difference. But I will come up with what the different numbers are.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Any other questions? Okay, and you answered mine in the presentation. Thank you, Town Manager. Okay. And next item on our agenda is the department reports for September. Are there any questions or comments on the department reports? Councilor Blackstone.
So the planning board met last week, and
This is
Now,
department.
is this
Oh,
for
okay.
Yeah.
committee reports?
it was a committee.
Okay, so this is on the department reports, but
Okay.
we'll get there next. That's the next item.
Sorry.
Any comments? I have a few. Let's see. So on the police department, you guys, thank you so much to the police department for the updates on the welfare checks and the community care, especially for helping the Newmarket resident protect her privacy after the unfortunate death of her husband. Thank you for all the work that you do. I had a question about the guy who jumped into the roadway, was upset about somebody like felt was going too fast. Do we know whether that was in a speeding issue, or perceived speeding issue, or if this person disagreed, like is unhappy with the speed limit in the area?
I am not sure.
Okay. Just curious. And also, you guys, congrats to Lieutenant Wayne Stevens on your retirement. 27 years of service, that's awesome, and Newmarket is in your debt. So thank you so much, Lieutenant Stevens, and wish you well in the next phase and the next part of your life's journey. Just like a little thing, you get so glad, fire department, so glad that the person trapped by their car, by the trees and the live wires, got out, okay, with only kind of minor injuries. I know both the fire department and the police department were on that. I'll skip those. Thanks to the Public Works, both for the new guardrail and for all that work that you guys are doing to clear the culverts that look like a huge mess. Yes, the beavers are out in force and very busy, and we appreciate your works there. There was one little item here, Town Manager, on PlaceWorks presentation around the facilities master plan.
Mhm.
Do we know when that?
I am
Is
trying to
gonna
set
be
that
it?
up now.
Okay.
Or just get the budget done first and then,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay. And then the other question that I had was on the intersection improvements on 108, 152. We were talking about sort of a pilot demo for the potential traffic pattern changes. A couple questions. Is this the thing where we're talking about changing it to a circular thing where it goes one way in and it's just a circle around?
Not quite, I don't want to say use the term traffic circle, but yes.
It's not a
one
traffic
way-
circle,
It's one
but-
way going, if you're going east on 152.
Mhm.
And then if you're going, I'm sorry, not west on 152, you'd be coming down one, near the intersection and go right. If you're coming east, you'd be forced down Jerry Ave to a cleaner intersection down there.
Mhm,
So
mhm.
yes.
Okay. And then since this came up in the department's reports, do we have an ETA on that pilot or demo?
I have not heard anything, no.
Okay. And one of the things that Sean brought up in the Public Works reports is that the thickener is up and running. And I was just curious could he possibly come in at some point and give us like an update on that? Because that was such a project to get done, and just sort of to remind folks, for folks who weren't here, like what this project is. It's really very interesting, and kind of why it's important and why it helps save, kind of Newmarket kind of time and money.
Yeah, if you look at the data, see, he's at almost 24% right now,
Yeah.
so you can tell it's working.
It really-
Typically runs like 19.
And the work that he's done on it has just been so impressive, and I'd love for folks to hear it. Let's see. Oh, finance, get well soon, Carol. Carol Sheehan, she's out for a couple of months, I'm so sorry. And rec department, congrats and welcome Bethany Henry. That was great. New head of the Sunrise Sunset Program Director. Awesome. I know that was a lot of work to try and get that position filled. And also congrats to Michael Warnick on his promotion to after-school program manager. That's great. Okay. And now we'll move on to committee reports. Do we have any committee reports this evening? Counselor Blackstone?
I have a very short one. The
Okay.
planning board, so just to reiterate, a long time ago, maybe a year ago, the Historical Society came to the town council with a letter signed by like 90 people, a large number of people, and these were all people who were committee chairmen or in the past have been town councilors, etc. People who have demonstrated interest in Newmarket. And they requested that we enact some kind of legislation to preserve the character of downtown. This was discussed within the town council, and the town council decided, after a lot of discussion, that that's actually a good idea, and they asked the planning board to implement it. So in the last planning board meeting, we finally come to an agreement on a zoning ordinance that is intended to preserve the character of downtown. This will come to the town council for final approval, maybe even next meeting, I'm not sure, soon.
Thank you. Questions for Councilor Blackstone? Okay. Any other committee reports this evening? Quiet couple of weeks. Okay.
Sorry, yes.
Councilor Ward.
Yes. Conservation Commission met on the 12th. There is a new member, Jessica Kahn, so now all slots have been filled. They also congratulate Sue Frick for taking notes for the Conservation Commission for 10 years. Ellen and Jeff were appointed to review the non-public records, and nothing too crazy. The Oyster Fest went well, and the oysters in the cages are big enough to be released in the Great Bay. So.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Councilor Ward. Any other committee reports? Okay. Then we will move on to resolutions and ordinances in the second reading. And this evening, there are 5. The item number 1, or A, is Resolution 2023-2024-5. And that is the authorization to grant funds to nonprofit Newmarket 300. And I would accept a motion to approve this resolution.
So moved.
Thank you. And do I have a second?
I'll second.
Excellent. Yes.
Thank you, Madam Chair. As many councils know, for the last 10 years, we've been putting money aside because in 2027, Town of Newmarket will be celebrating its 300th anniversary. In the year prior, the United States will be celebrating its 250th anniversary. We've been approached by a committee that was originally quasi-town created that would be looking into doing the celebrations. That committee, as you know, have been many steering sessions and determined that it would be better to set itself up as a nonprofit entity to do those celebrations, and that this is actually a model that worked very well for the Portsmouth 400 and the Dover 400 that you saw that's finishing up right now. And they are looking to do the same model. They are finishing their bylaws and they already have their 501c3 tax corporation and finishing their bylaws to be incorporated with the state. What we would then do is transfer the money that we have built up, and we'd have an agreement. I've already begun writing that with the attorneys based on the model that Portsmouth and Dover have. And we would transfer funds to them to see them achieve their goals. This would also allow them to fundraise and keep the money they fundraise separate in its own entity. So any profits that they receive would go back to funding it, where if they receive profits from us, if they were town agency, it would go back to the general fund. It's been, like as I said, I think the proof is in the pudding. Portsmouth and Dover had some great celebrations, even with the weather this year. A lot of turnouts, and so they want to use the same model. And as soon as this passes and I see their incorporation, we then negotiate the agreement between the two.
Thank you, Town Manager. Any questions or discussion? Okay. I think it's a good move. I think it'll do all the things that you said, free up folks to be a little more flexible in terms of how they work and in terms of how they raise funds and what they do with them. So I'm in favor. If there are no other comments, Wendy, if you could call the roll, please.
Counselor Blaisberg?
Aye.
Counselor Lamatino?
Aye.
Counselor John Bluth?
Aye.
Counselor White?
Aye.
Counselor Blackstone?
Aye.
Counselor Ward?
Aye.
Counselor Conley?
Aye.
Motion passes 7-0.
Excellent. All right. And item B, a resolution 2023-2024-12, annual lease payment for Engine 5. I would accept a motion to approve this resolution.
So moved.
Second.
Excellent. And Rick, is this,
Fire chief.
would you like to speak to this one?
This is our fourth payment. We have to come ask every year for you guys to approve it. So here we are.
As you know, as I said in my budget earlier, we are depositing $50,000 to the capital reserve, and we're withdrawing $42,000 to pay for this. The capital improvement committee did recommend, which I agree, in the future that lease payments should be an operating expense, much like we do the police cruiser purchases and other leases. It's cleaner. But as we still have a significant amount of money in the fund balance right now, I think any further purchases would be a lease payment. We'd create a new line that says lease payment.
Rick, what would happen if the town council, for some reason, decided not to approve it? Like, what?
They would come and take the fire truck away.
Yep.
Just like if you don't pay for your car, you know, same thing.
Okay.
We'd be in court, yeah.
Okay. Counselor Blackstone.
I asked the town manager this, and he didn't know the answer, so here's your chance to shine. Number 5, why is it number 5?
The engine number?
Yeah,
So for call signs, we don't like to have multiple 1s, 2s, 3s. So every apparatus has its own significant number. So when you call on the radio, there's no
But is
confusion.
this the fifth engine we bought? Or
No,
Chief
no,
one,
no, no.
right, it's
Yeah,
Chief
Chief
1.
1, Chief 2, Chief 3. It's specifically call sign.
So it's just a number you made up that was small and easy to use?
It was the next number available to go in the fleet.
Oh, okay.
The available open
Yeah.
number.
So does that mean that that's the fifth fire truck we bought?
No,
No.
no, there's no significance to the number
Right.
other than for the call sign.
Yeah.
You wouldn't want to have like, when you have a different type of, like an engine one, you don't want an engine one and a tank one. There can be confusion.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So you use a
I was
different.
wondering if certain numbers indicated certain things. but-
No, there's nothing significant other than we have we have an engine 5, we have ladder 2, we have an engine 1, we have,
Yeah. But I mean, if another fire company comes with an engine 5, that tells you nothing other than it's engine 5.
Yeah, and there's not a lot of people with 5s, but since we did this, some people have, it was more significance for the bordering communities that we use more frequently. No one had that number 2, so there'd be no confusion, and then Durham bought a new rescue and called it Rescue 5 and so forth. So it's, and they've never ever done that, but it happened.
Okay, I was just curious. I thought it had some meaning. I guess.
No, it's more for a call sign, so there's no confusion on the fire ground when someone's calling for a piece of apparatus, if
Yeah.
you're yelling for more water or less, or,
Right. Okay, thank you.
yeah.
Any other questions for Rick? Okay, any discussion? Okay. We'll see what happens. Whenever you could call the roll, please.
Council Blaisberg.
Aye.
Council Lombardo.
Aye.
Council Dorothy.
Aye.
Council White.
Aye.
Council Blackstone.
Aye.
Council Ward.
Aye.
Council Conlon.
Aye.
Motion passes 7-0.
Yay, we can keep the fire truck. Sorry. Okay, we'll be calling on you again here, Rick, in just a second. Resolution 2023-2024-13, lease purchase trackless MT7 sidewalk tractor with plow equipment. And if you'd like to speak to that one? Oh, I'm so sorry. No, let's hold on that. Sorry. I would accept a motion to approve this resolution.
I'll make the motion.
Thank you. And a second? Okay, thank you. Now, if you would like to speak to that.
So we-
Thank you, Town Manager.
We've been running these for a lot of years. We have currently 2 in the fleet, and we're just replacing one with the plow equipment this time. We typically keep that stuff longer, which we have, so the sander, the plow, the blower attachment. With this one, that stuff's really old, so we're updating that also, so we're getting a few extra components, but we have a lot of attachments that already connect to these machines that we currently have owned for a long time. We use it year-round. It's not just for plowing and winter maintenance. That's its primary role here. It's what we remove all the snow from downtown with, this little machine, believe it or not. It loads a truck very quickly, and as you know, it's gone in one night. Yeah, we're just replacing. That other one will go away. They won't take anything in trade. It's worn out. It'll go to the auction.
The auction is, the state annually has a surplus equipment auction.
Okay.
9 times out of 10, somebody buys it for scrap.
We'll be lucky to get a $1,500, $2,000. What we do, we sweep with it, we plow with it, snow removal from downtown, and we have a mower attachment, we mow.
Okay. Questions for Rick? Counselor Blackstone?
I have a small farm and I have a skid steer and tractors and front end loaders and stuff. And my concern is if you have $200,000, you have a lot of options. And this was a machine that was maybe picked as the best machine 10, 15 years ago. But how do I know it's the best machine today? I mean, I would like to see that you talk to John Deere and you talk to a few other people and to see, like, what are the choices? I mean, how do we know I mean, $200,000 is a lot of money, right?
Yeah.
And I'm not saying this is not a good thing, but we have no way of knowing if it's a good thing.
So can I respond to you?
Yes, the chair.
Could I
Please.
respond? So there's two machines that fit on our sidewalks. So we have the width restriction for a lot of areas in town. There's the holder, which is, it's a different color. It's a similar machine. We did have that back in the day, and it was always broken down. So we went to the trackless, which has been a very, very good machine. They don't break down a lot. Their parts are readily available if you do need a part, and they fit on our sidewalks with our restrictions. These other types of devices, the minute you go up in horsepower, they get wider. They won't fit. So we could look into a holder or a trackless, but now we have to get all brand-new attachments. We're not going to use stuff we already currently own. So there'd be to change. Essentially, there's two options for us. There's the trackless machine or what they call a holder. It's the only thing that'll fit, give us the horsepower to do what we do. These other machines just don't, they're too wide.
And I think another thing is, which, this, I've been in municipal government for 30 years almost, and it was, I always remember one of my first meetings, somebody said, it wasn't about this, but about a police cruiser, and he said, well, I drive a Crown Victoria. Why does, I don't have to trade in my Crown Victoria as much as you do for a police cruiser? Well, because the police cruiser is run 24 hours a day, 7 days a week through all types of weather. These vehicles are run 24 hours a day during storm situations, through heavy snow where other vehicles, other equipment takes a break. I mean, if you have a driveway, once the driveway's done, you're not out there doing it every hour. You're out, but sidewalks are out there.
And the other thing with this machine, it articulates in the middle, and it also articulates like this behind the cab. So when you drop off a 7-inch curb, other machines will just roll over. And you do pop off the curb. When you're pushing a lot of snow, you can't see the curb line, so you're jumping off and down, but for safety and stuff like that. But those other machines like John Deere and this other types of equipment, the minute you go up to like 75 horsepower, we have a width restriction. We can't get through. Plus, they don't all articulate both ways. You know what I mean? I don't know if that makes sense to you. But there's really, for our situation and our road profiles and sidewalks, we have to go with a trackless or a holder. There's really just two that we could get. And we went from a holder because they break down a lot. They're designed differently. A lot of issues with the brakes. I mean, they've made some improvements, but there's also better visibility in the trackless for the operator when it's snowing real hard. He's on the sidewalk. Everybody's out. If you're ever out downtown Newmarket when it's snowing, they're sliding up and down the hills on Chapel, Church, and Central, and you know what I mean? There's a lot of people out running around all hours, and the visibility is much better in that machine too. So that was another reason we went to the trackless. But they're very dependable and they're reliable. And we really don't have any issues with them per se. And they've done a great job improving little things that they had issues with. They've kind of fixed them, and now they're like, they just don't break down. They don't break down, you know what I mean? They're very, very dependable and reliable. Portsmouth has 12 of them. Exeter's gone to them. They have 4 or 5, I believe, now. Dover's got holders, I believe, but they're looking at possibly going to tracklesses, from what I understand. But there's not a lot of communities like I'm talking about bigger communities, but like Stratham, Lee, Newfields, they don't have, Newfields has like a 100-foot sidewalk. They don't really need one, they just hit it with the wing. And it's a good machine. I can tell you this, when you're blowing snow with the other one, you are always unclogging the chute. This thing, it's got so much power, I could throw snow from here to the bottom of Jerry Ave. It just,
75 horsepower diesel, that's a big mover.
yeah. But it moves, you need that for what you're asking it to do, But we have all these other attachments. I don't even know what it would, to look at a holder. And they're pretty much the same when you're looking at prices. There's not a huge, difference. But we have a lot of attachments, the water tank for the rear, the sweeper, the mower, all these other another blower, like none of that would connect to the we'd have to get everything if we switched gears. It's really the right thing to do, in my opinion, but I understand your questions and concerns.
Thank you, Rick. Are there any other questions for Rick?
I have a question, but not necessarily for Rick.
Okay. Thank you very much. You can take a seat. So then, any questions or discussion? I think, Councilor Dorn.
If we approve this resolution the way it's written, will the situation be the same as we are experiencing now with Fire Engine 5? And Rick will have to come back every year to ask the town council to approve
Correct.
the lease payment?
Correct.
Should we then possibly resolve that and rectify that situation before we get into it?
The only reason why I wouldn't is because of the amount of funds that we already have in the capital reserve fund. So I would wait a few years. I think what I would say is this is probably one of the last vehicles we'd be going through the capital reserve fund for the highway. Then we'll start new vehicles. We want to buy that down so we don't have such a big impact. We've been putting the money aside so much, because basically what's going to happen is as soon as we flip, we'll stop contributing that money to the capital reserve funds and putting it towards the leases.
Okay, Councilor Ward.
Yeah. So basically, just to reiterate, we already have a pot of money that we can only use for this. Why not use that and just use that money instead of having to, go for them?
To start buying it
Yeah.
down, correct.
I think,
What does lease purchase mean?
So
Well,
at the
hang
end
on,
of
just
the,
one second. Did that answer your
Yes.
question, Councilor Ward? Okay, Councilor Blackstone, thanks. Sorry.
I'm sorry, I have to wait for people raising it. At the end of the lease, we purchase it for usually $1.
Okay, but, so, what lease purchase means is that we're borrowing the money, right?
Correct.
It's no capital reserve, we're borrowing the money and we're making payments on it.
From the
right?
capital reserve.
Or we're borrowing it from ourselves,
No,
No.
okay, so we're gonna get the vehicle,
yeah,
we're gonna have a lease payment.
right.
Our lease payments, instead of hitting the operating budget, because what happened.
it's coming from
It's
the
coming from the
capital
capital
reserve,
reserve.
yeah.
What happened was, the town for many years, which is very common in New Hampshire, the Yankee frugality of, we don't buy it till we have the money. Problem is, when you start saving the money, the vehicle in value, the cost of the vehicle increased so much by the end, that we had to figure out other ways to be able to purchase it.
But
So-
the counter to that is,
I'm sorry,
Just one
I gotta wait, and also have to let the chair call on you.
we can't just continue a conversation?
No, you have to go through the chair.
Yeah, let's,
Okay, I want to ask a second question.
let's make sure that Wendy can capture everything. Okay, were you able to finish your?
Now, so what we found out a number of years ago was, as I mentioned, that we were buying vehicles, that the lease payments, that we were putting money aside for vehicles, but we're never withdrawing from the capital reserve fund, because we never got to the level that we needed to actually purchase the vehicles. I think the only things we would be able to were ambulances for a while, and then the numbers were going just way too high. So that's when we said, okay, we're gonna stop buying down, using those and use the lease payments, but in the future, we're gonna just put the lease payments in the operating budget as an operating cost.
Thank you. Councilor Dornbluth?
I understand the idea of having already saved money toward this purchase. It's, of course, in the capital reserve funds for vehicles and equipment. And there will be other equipment that we will need to purchase in coming years.
Yeah.
That might very well be less than 160,000, or just about right there. So, just to start clean, I think it might make more sense to the existing capital reserve notwithstanding, to just put this into the operating on the operating side and utilize these funds for other purchases that are coming down the road.
And, sorry.
Yes,
I blanked on the number one thing. If we do not approve this evening through the lease, through the capital reserve fund, and we wait to withdraw from the operating budget, we will not be able to purchase this till July 1st, 2024. So we're gonna have one season without it.
Mm.
So that's why we're withdrawing from the capital reserve funds now, because we've already appropriated that. If we amend the budget to start doing it, then we have to wait till July. given that it even is approved.
Great. And I know you have another question, Councilor Blackstone. I just want to check and see if anybody else has anything, so we make sure everyone who wants to speak has an opportunity. Councilor Lamatina.
I'll just make a comment. I think we have to trust the department heads that are out there doing the work and making the assessments on what it is that they need. I think we have to trust their abilities. That's it.
Councilor Blackstone.
So
Thanks.
the downside of this is interest rates, right?
Mm-hmm.
And, so what is the interest rate that we're being charged on these leases?
Rick, do you have that right in front of you?
Because as you know, Diamond is saying that interest rates are going to continue to
5.89
climb.
on this one.
Say it again?
5.89 is the rate
5.89.
for this one.
And when was that negotiated?
August 28th, 2023.
So very recently,
Yep.
right? That's pretty low. Because you can imagine these things going to 8 or 9%, right, at some point.
And we did look at a couple others, they were much more than that. But this is someone we currently do business for the dump trucks and the fire truck. And we've done business with them in the past. We bought air packs this way in the past and other equipment, so.
Thank you, Rick. Okay. Any other discussion? Okay. I'm in agreement with Councilor Lamatina. I think that the Public Works Department has done a tremendous amount of work doing this investigation, and I'm going to put my trust that Rick knows what he needs. Okay. If there are no other comments, Wendy, if you could call the roll, please.
Councilor Blaisberg?
Aye.
Councilor Lamatina?
Aye.
Councilor Blumbley?
Aye.
Councilor White?
Aye.
Councilor Blackstone?
Aye.
Councilor Ward?
Aye.
Councilor Conley?
Aye.
Motion passes 7-0.
Okay. Thank you, everybody. And the next item is Resolution 2023-2024-14, amending the transfer station collection fees, and I would accept a proposal or a motion to approve this resolution.
I'll make a motion.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
Second.
Excellent. And town managers, want you to speak to?
it's-
Oh, this is another one
we
for
can
Rick.
both- it's-
Okay.
We haven't updated our
So this
fees at
is
the
the-
transfer station until 2016, since 16.
We could turn this into a Netflix series.
I know. So we haven't, we've seen some increases. The biggest thing is the demo and building materials. And the dump trailers have become very, very popular. It seems like everybody has one now. So you'll see the increases there. They're significant, but the tonnage and what it cost us, we pay $78 a ton. These guys are bringing in a couple ton typically when they make a dump. Just for them to get a can, if you were doing some work at your house, the trucking just to have one dropped off is like $350 just to get it delivered. Never mind what you put in it and then having it disposed of. But we're just trying to keep up with what it's actually costing us for operations. We're hauling about 4 cans off a Saturday opening and 2 to 3 on a Wednesday. It's
Cans
pretty
of
busy up
dumpsters.
there.
Thank you.
I don't,
Cans of dumpsters.
oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Thank you, Steve. 30-yard open top is what I'm referring to when I speak of a can.
Here, I thought
But-
you were bringing bathrooms into it.
But we don't have scales, so it's all based off volume, and it's pretty much going to cover what I've increased these to. Some of the other stuff, you'll see they're small, $5 to $10. It's just really, costs have gone up. We should probably be reviewing this, I should say, Rick should be reviewing this probably every 3 years or 4 years, not 8, so.
Okay. Thank you very much. And any questions for Rick? Oh, Councilor Lamatina.
I have an issue with this one, that, some really significant increases on some of the things. I understand what the department head is saying, but
Just 1 second, Councilor Lamatina. Is there a question for Rick, or can I let him sit down?
it's
Or is this just a
comment
comment for the,
council.
okay.
So,
Please feel free to
I
have
have
it.
an issue with this, example, some of the things going, the 8-foot beds going from $30 to $75, other rounded ones going from $35 to $100, excuse me. I've looked at some of the surrounding towns, Durham, Dover, Portsmouth, and Exeter, and this is significantly higher, I think, than the surrounding towns. What I would like to see maybe is perhaps a range, allow the, the person that's putting the people in to have a range that he, as opposed to hey, that's $100 flat fee.
I would not recommend that at all, because then you run in a situation with, I'm not saying anybody who works for us would do this, but Joe Smith sees one person and says, oh, that's a $75 trailer. Somebody comes in right after with the same trailer and says, oh, that's a $150 trailer. That'll open up a huge can of worms if you let that happen. You gotta have a flat fee for everybody for something, situation like that. It can't be a judgment call. Yeah.
And Councilor Lamattina, follow-up?
They kind of do that now. I've gone there, oh, that, that's $25, or, that's $30.
But it's not as big of a range.
Mm-hmm.
So, and
Rick, did you want to address the
The-
comparison of the prices? Is
I
that what
do
you-
know a lot of communities do
Okay.
run scales. I'm not sure if the ones you referenced do. For the building, specifically for building materials. And that's a lot of the stuff coming in the trailers, that's what it is, the dump trailers. The pickups, not so much, but I feel we're covering what we're hauling out of there every week.
Thank you, and they'll make sure that other folks have a chance to speak, then we'll come back to you, Councilor Lamattina. Councilor Ward.
Yeah, so basically, what I'm understanding is that since we don't have a scale, a 6-foot truck bed, it could be filled with 6 feet of, say, pillows, or 6 feet of anvils. We don't have a scale to do that, so we're using just this kind of a bigger range.
The volume, so
So we're
some.
basing on volume, not weight, because we don't have a scale.
Correct. So like if you bring in a pickup truck load of insulation, it doesn't weigh a lot, it doesn't compact good in the can, so it fills the can up quicker, and we have to haul it sooner, but you don't have the weight. If you strip your roof, bring up a pickup load of shingles, there's 2-3 ton right there in that one pickup. So, and we're paying $78 a ton. We have our own truck, but there is cost associated with hauling that stuff up to Rochester. It goes to Rochester. So you can't really hit everything without having the scales, but between volume and weight, you kind of,
You did the best you can. Okay. Town manager?
just wanted to follow up that, just remember too, that this is not for commercial. This is only supposed to be people who are doing their own home projects. So this shouldn't be the contractor down the street bringing their job to the site. So this is you doing your own thing. So we're not supposed to be seeing huge truckloads of things unless somebody's doing their own home project. So I just want to make sure we know that.
and we do discourage that. There are people, I feel, that show up and say, this is my trailer and this is my stuff, and it's, if you have your ID and say, this is mine, we can't throw you out, you know what I mean? But,
Other questions? We'll go to Councilor Blackstone, then Councilor Dornbluth, and then we'll come back to you, Councilor Lamattina.
I was just curious, we don't charge for metal, do we actually make money on the metal, or do we?
we do charge a little bit for metal. We do charge a little bit. There is some cost associated with the metal. We don't make much money right now. The market for all commodities is really bad, so there's really not a lot of money. We took out like 22 ton last week and got $210, I think. You know what I mean?
A lot
But
of the recycling went down with the China market.
I would think metal would be different.
Yeah, it's still
it's
not.
not.
Yeah.
And the trouble up there is a lot of the stuff we get is like the white goods stuff is what we call it, and it's just, it's junk. You get a couple bucks for it, but by the time you pay the guy to truck it and haul it
Yeah.
off and everything, you know what I mean?
Okay. Councilor Dornbluth.
If you had to guess, and you may know the numbers, what's the distribution? How many people come with a 6-foot truck, and how many people will come with a dump trailer?
The bulk of what we see now are dump trailers.
Are they really?
It seems like everybody's, that's what we see. A lot of dump trailers. It just seems like everyone has one. Not a lot of pickup activity. And typically when someone comes in with a pickup, it's like they have a fridge and a couch maybe. It's the other fees. It's not the bigger fees down bottom. That's mostly building materials. the,
Okay.
the stuff you see down below. And it typically has weight, it's
Right.
tile, floor tile, it's sheet rock, it's shingles, it's the heavy stuff. So that's why I bumped it up, because you figure they dump and those trailers are pretty big now.
Yeah.
They dump 3 ton in there, and we're only charging them 200, but you know what I mean? And we're trucking it,
So what was your cost for the disposal then, per ton?
It's $78 per ton for everything we,
78,
yeah.
okay.
Those cans typically have
Yeah,
5 or 6 ton on them, sometimes 4.
sounds pretty fair.
And Counselor, Counselor Glazebrook.
You mentioned briefly there that someone comes in with a truck, it's typically a fridge and a couch. If someone comes in with a dump trailer and they have just a few appliances in it, you charge them per appliance still?
Correct.
Yeah.
These bottom fees are strictly,
Yeah.
Building materials.
building materials,
Thank
for
you.
the most part.
Thank you
And
for waiving.
it's typically heavy. It's
Yep.
typically not light. I use the example of insulation. That doesn't really happen. It's the heavy stuff. It's the sheet rock, it's the shingles, it's the side, it's wood, they're dumping 3 ton in there, 2 to 3. They're dumping a lot.
Yeah.
That they are. They're getting a deal, because if you called to get a can dropped at your house, it's gonna cost you $1,000. If you were doing a project, a home improvement type thing, It's very expensive.
And Counselor Lamattina, you've been waiting, so please.
And again, I'm just concerned that significant increase in the fees here, that, some people might decide not to take it to the dump and going to go dump it somewhere else, and I would have a concern of that. Maybe we could go back and take a look at doing an annual spring cleanup in favor of this.
Yes, Manager.
Part of the problem there is the liability of what was left on the side of the road. Say if somebody
A lot of towns do it.
not as much as they used to. A
I
lot of
think
small towns. do.
Durham's the only one still doing it, I
Right.
believe. I think it's Durham.
And a lot of towns that are just, they don't have the volume, we're not, Durham, they have their own, garbage collection as well. They have a garbage department because of the university. Cities like that do, because they have somebody that can spend the time to look through everything. We would not have that time because of the volume. I can tell you that most of the larger communities around here, communities our size, do not have those any longer. And it's just the liability of what was on the side of the road. The other part of it was, all of a sudden, Miss Smith, who's 90 years old, who lives by herself in an old house, all of a sudden had 3 couches that were going away because Miss Smith's son, who lives in Rochester, well, I won't say Rochester because they get it differently, lives in another community who doesn't do it, would drop off all their stuff here, and we would have to pay for it. That was one of the big, we saw a lot more abuse with the curbside collection. And I hate to say it, the curbside collection was the most controversial things you ever deal with. Everybody wants us to pick up their stuff on the side of the road no matter what. Newmarket has it very good on how much we allow people to bring the transfer station. A lot of communities, they make you drive to Rochester to bring your own debris. They will make you, they do not have curbside collection on, that's one of the reasons why we got rid of it, because of the liability of the chemicals that we're finding in the materials on the side of the road. That's why we have household hazardous waste day every other year, so people can do it the correct way, not that way.
Thank you, Town Manager. Any other comments or questions?
Could I say just one last thing there,
You may.
if you may? I don't see we'll see a reduction in anything up there at all. They're still getting a great deal at this rate, this new rate. They really are. They've been getting a really, really good deal for a little while. And you gotta remember, it's been almost 8 years since we did an increase, so it should be looked at yearly, annually, it really should be, and I apologize that hasn't happened. Time flies by, you don't realize it till you look at that top page and see all the dates that have gone by, so, you know what I mean? But I don't foresee us having issues with littering and things like that.
Just so you know, I pulled up the city of Dover's, as of July 1st, no dump trailers in excess of 12 feet. A lot of construction debris. And they do weigh it, tonnage, but they're not allowing, then they just tell you have to go to WIN or Waste Management with it. That's what a lot of communities are starting to do.
Councilor Lamattina.
One of the communities, it was either Exeter or Durham, for a 10-foot trailer, they were doing $70.
Probably haven't updated recently.
Any other discussion? Any other comments? Okay. Oh, Councilor Dumpler.
I'll just have one comment. I think the increases in the fees for, appliances and such are quite reasonable, considering that it's been an 8-year span. And as far as the bulky waste of the building material is concerned, I think an increase is absolutely warranted, especially if our cost to haul the tonnage is almost barely covered by the increased fee. So considering we have to drive it up there and incur fuel costs as well. So I think these are well within reason, and I would hope that we can support this resolution.
Thank you, Councilor Dumpler. Last call for comments. Okay. Thank you, Rick. And Wendy, if you could call the roll, please.
Council Blaisdell?
Aye.
Council Martina?
No.
Council Jordan?
Aye.
Council White?
Aye.
Council Blackstone?
Aye.
Council Ward?
Aye.
Council Conlon?
Aye.
Motion passes 6.
Okay.
Thank you.
And
Thank
our,
you.
have a good night. And our last resolution in the second reading this evening is Resolution 2023-2024-15, and that is the Stratford Regional Planning Commission Contract Services Rezoning of the North Gateway. And I would accept a motion to approve this resolution.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. Thank you. And Bart, are you here to speak on this one? Excellent.
Good evening, Bart McDonough, Planning Director. Today I'm here before the council to ask them to authorize, you all to authorize town manager to enter a contract with Stratford Regional Planning Commission. Contracts for $90,000, and the purpose of the contract is for Stratford Regional Planning Commissions to assist the town in rezoning what is called the North Gateway area. This is 108 North Main Street in portions east. As the council may remember, the town commissioned a consultant a few years back to look at different gateways, different portions of town, which would be 152 near the Epping border, Lee, North Gateway, where's Durham, Newmarket, and then the South Gateway, which is Newfields and Newmarket on 108. And the town has decided to concentrate on the North Gateway. We see there's opportunity for one to extend it downtown from downtown north, and then add missing middle housing east from 108. So the town has received a $90,000 grant, actually $125,000 from Invest New Hampshire, $25,000 for a master plan update, and then $90,000 for the rezoning effort. So this does not cost the town 1 cent. It's all grant driven, and I'm just here before you to authorize the town manager into that contract to utilize those funds for this effort. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Are there any questions for Bart? Any comments or discussion? No, I think it's a great. I think it's a great plan. It's nice to get some support on it, and I'm in support of it, particularly given that it's all grant funded. It costs us nothing. Yay! So, if there are no other comments, Wendy, if you could call the roll.
Council Blaisdell?
Aye.
Council Martina?
Aye.
Council Jordan?
Aye.
Council White?
Aye.
Council Blackstone?
Aye.
Council Ward?
Aye.
Council Conlon?
Aye.
Motion passes 7-0.
Okay, and that ends. Thank you very much. Just a bonus.
I think it passed 7-0, not.
Next item 9 on the agenda is resolutions and ordinances in the first reading. And today there is one, and that is Resolution 2023-2024-17, and that is the approval of the fiscal year 2025 budget. Whereas the town manager submitted his budget for the fiscal year to the town council on October 15th, 2023, and whereas the town council, after reviewing the proposed budget and making various changes, desires to forward the municipal budget committee a proposed budget for the fiscal year ending June 20th, 2025. And now therefore be it resolved by the Newmarket Town Council that the annual budget for the town Newmarket for fiscal year 2025 submitted to the town council by the town manager recommends to the municipal budget committee for its review the following appropriations. To the general fund, $10,702,630. Special funds, $2,039,963. And enterprise water and sewer funds, $4,958,737 for a total budget of $17,701,030. First reading, October 18th, 2023. All right. Item number 10 is new business and correspondence. Is there any correspondence to the town council, town manager? Okay. Then closing comments by town councilors. Are there any closing comments this evening? Councilor LaMattina.
I've been asked to remind everybody, please don't feed the ducks down at Chandler Park. It causes issues.
Okay.
Signs are coming.
Thank you very
There is
much.
a fine, $50.
There is. We have a town ordinance.
Okay. Other closing comments? You so looked like you had something you wanted to say, didn't he? Okay.
Sorry.
Councilor Blackstone.
This isn't a comment, it's just a question. Do we intend to mark the parking on Central Street other than that little sign on the wall? Are we gonna put marks on the road?
I mean, that's great.
Did the 15-minute?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, it's two spots and people normally park in the middle.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'll find
because
out.
there's no way to tell. I was thinking of just getting some paint and going out one night and doing it.
Yeah. We don't recommend that.
Let's keep you on this side of the law.
When Rick does it, it's legal. When you do, it's graffiti.
Job titles mean everything. Any other closing comments? Okay. Our next meeting is October 28th, 2023. That is the town budget workshop, and that is from 9 to about noon. And is that in the basement? Or will
Which
it be
would
here?
you prefer? I mean, after COVID, we've been back up here. So, unless you guys want tables to spread stuff out. There's
Yeah, we
always just a
have-
little more intimate up here, so we'll just figure it out.
Okay.
I
And-
will not be here.
That's right.
So we have more room to spread out.
So we have
You
more.
want to submit questions?
Yes,
Yeah.
actually have a couple.
Yeah.
And then our next town council meeting is November 1st, 2023, day after Halloween, so prep for that.
November already.
November
Yeah.
already. And if there are no other comments or no objections, I will consider us adjourned.